Hey, I'm Deepak Devjani, I'm a CTO, and I work with founders to launch and grow their companies. In these Deep Talk series, we talk about some of the biggest companies today, how do they make the money, and what did they do to grow into the companies they are. In addition to that, I sometimes also touch on emerging issues in the technology industry. This is one of those videos. Let's talk about the hack that happened on Twitter in July 2020, and then I'll also touch on what you can do to prevent the chances of these hacks happening at your company or in your product. So what exactly happened with this Twitter hack? Details are still emerging on how hackers were able to compromise and take control of over 130 high-profile verified Twitter accounts. These included accounts from Elon Musk, Barack Obama, Kanye West, all these celebrities, all of their accounts got hacked all at the same time. Now, you must be thinking, well, how did all these people get hacked at the same time? Did they do something wrong with all of their accounts? No, not necessarily. CNN is investigating or reporting that hackers gained access to internal tools that Twitter uses to help manage their users. This is called Twitter Services UI, or internally it's called agent tools. Probably because Twitter agents, Twitter employees use them to help customer support and troubleshoot accounts. Apparently, through these agent tools, Twitter employees are able to get in and access any user's account and look at their tweets, their devices, their valid phone numbers, and also, now this is the most scariest one of them all, also the geolocation data of where you are tweeting from. You'd think if a tool is, giving away access to my location data on Twitter to all of its employees, there would be some safeguards in place as to which types of employees have access to that. Through this tool, employees can also update the account information, and they probably do this time to time to help out some of these celebrities. Totally fine. Now, investigators believe hackers somehow got access to Twitter's internal Slack. Now, if you don't know what Slack is, there should be a link here somewhere that tells you more about it. Hackers somehow got access to Twitter's Slack account, and while browsing the Slack account, they came across a login information to one of these agent tools. Voila! They used that to log into the agent tools, and then they changed the passwords on all these celebrity accounts without them getting notified, and then took control of these accounts. Now, you must be thinking, most of these celebrities would have security protocols like two-factor authentication on their accounts, and many of them did. Turns out, using these agent tools can disable two-factor authentication for any user. Now, while the hack sounds really alarming, and many parts about it are, the impact wasn't as grievous. All in, hackers were able to send out some blockchain spam link, and using that, they amassed about $180,000 in Bitcoin. If you think about it, 180K is not that big of an amount in the grand scheme of things of online hack attacks. Still, there are many times in this entire process, Twitter's internal policies dropped the ball in safeguarding their own information, access to user data, and the accounts of their users. Which brings me to the next part. What can you do if you are running a software company, regular business, any type of technology company? What can you do to prevent the chances of these types of attacks and hacks happening at your company and in your product? So first, yes, it makes sense that you would want to create some internal tools to help manage the accounts of your users. If you are going to build these tools, you have to be extra careful about permissioning on these tools. By that, I just mean you need to do a complete audit now and then put in safeguards as to which types of employees in your company get access to which type of actions for all your users. Do an audit and make sure that if there are actions that can impact swaths of users, like changing their passwords, changing their account information, things like that, should only be accessed by a select few employees. Not every employee in a company needs access to that. Second, you also have to make sure that the employees that you do give access to put in safeguards around IP blocking, whitelisting, two-factor authentication, so that even if they do get hacked, the attackers and the compromisers are not able to create swathing changes to your user base. Third, never, ever share login information on other platforms like Slack, or share it in Google Docs or Google Sheets. None of these places are the right place or the right way to share login information. If you need to share login data and login info across your team, there are tools for that. These are called password managers. Password managers like Dashlane, LastPass, 1Password. There are many such ones available in the market that allow you to share login information with your entire team without it being in plain text in some Slack account or email or text message or whatever. Lastly, you need to build triggers into your code that should be sending up flares and alarm bells when changes are happening across your user base. Things like if there are password changes happening across multiple users done by the same employee or the same person or from the same IP address. Things like disabling two-factor authentication. Any change that is pertinent to access. If that's happening from the same place, from the same user, from the same account, from the same IP address, or similar clusters of it, your code should be sending up alarm bells. If you're sending up flares, notify the other admins, notify other people, block off these attempts, require two-factor authentication for sending out batch commands. There are many things you can do to make sure the impact of a compromise is contained and is not as bad as what happened with Sony or what happened with Twitter, things of that sort. Whew. Okay, now, if you have specific questions about how your specific product or your specific company can safeguard against these, by all means, I have a cybersecurity background, comment at me in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to address them or answer any questions that I can to the best of my ability. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you learned something that you possibly did not know before, by all means, please share it with somebody else who might also find it useful. And if you have any other company that you would like to know about, by all means, comment at me right below, and I'll be more than happy to cover them as well. If you liked it, please make sure you subscribe so you can be notified of the next videos we make. On that note, this is Deepak Devjani signing off. See you next time.